Well, isn't that special? We are back for lesson number 2 on parallel lines. So last time we learned about just the angle pairs and their names and where they are in the positions. And today what we're going to do is we are going to put in numbers. So these are rules for angles in parallel lines. All right, we're going to start with a quick example to show you that you actually know how to do this already before we put the rules in place. So I'm going to draw our typical picture that we've been working with. Okay, and that there are, remember, 8 different angles that occur within the parallel lines. All right, what I'm going to do though is I'm going to give a specific measurement. So this time I'm going to say that angle 1, which is right here, I'm going to make that 118 degrees. So angle 1 is equal to 118. Okay, now I bet if you looked at this picture, you could figure one of them out just by looking at it. And hopefully you're recognizing angle 1 and angle 4. So do you remember how angle 1 and angle 4 are related? It's from last unit. Hopefully you're thinking that they're vertical. And if you know that they're vertical, what does that mean about their measurements? They're the same. So angle 4 is also 118. So angle 4 is 118. We know this because of vertical angles. Okay, so let's stay in this quadrant up here with 2 and 3. How can we figure out what 2 and 3 are? Well, there's a couple ways you can think about it. Number 1, you might recognize that there happens to be a linear pair right here. So that means angle 1 and angle 2, if you were to add them together, it should equal 180. So if you subtract 118 from 180, you would get 62. So angle 2 is equal to 62 because of a linear pair. And what does angle 3 have to be then? Well, again, vertical angles, so that means that this is going to be 62 as well. So angle 3 equals 62 because of vertical. Or it could be because it's also a linear pair with angle 4 down here. All right, now, how do we get down to the bottom angles? Okay, so down here, if you remember that this whole box of information, these 4 are exactly the same as the 4 that we already have found up here. So corresponding angles, right? So 118 is going to be down here, 118 by the number 8, 62 by the number 6, 62 by the number 7. So again, these 4 angles up at the top should be the same measurement as the 4 angles on the bottom. All right, now let's put those into some rules with the vocabulary terms that we learned already. All right, so I got a picture, hopefully you can read it. So the first angle pair we're going to look at is the alternate exterior. Alternate exterior angles. Now these are all rules. Okay, alternate exterior angles are, and then we're going to fill in the blank. All right, so if we look at the alternate exterior angles, now this is a picture that we just looked at, we filled in the blanks. So if we look at the alternate exteriors, we have 118 and 118, and then we also have 62 and 62. So in those positions, what do you notice about their measurements? Ding, 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 ding. They are equal. So the rule is alternate exterior angles are congruent or equal. Kind of the same idea. So no matter what, one of their measurements is, the other one has to be the same. Alternate exterior angles are equal. Okay, next pair we're going to take a look at is the alternate interior angles. Okay, and if we look at the picture again, you will see that the alternate interior angles, we have 62 and 62. And then we also have 118 and 118. So what are you noticing about the pairs of alternate interior angles? Well, hopefully you're noticing, hey, they're the same measurement, so they're equal. You're so smart. You're exactly correct. So they are congruent. Alternate interior angles are congruent. Their measurements are exactly the same. All right, next rule. Let's take a look at corresponding. Now, we kind of already answered this question, but again, let's take a look at corresponding angles. So corresponding angles, I think this should make sense because corresponding angles are in the same position, right? So if they're in the same position, then that means they have to be the same measurement. So if we look here, 118 and 118 in the same position, okay, 62 and 62 in the same position. We can come over here to the top right corner, 62 and 62, same position. Uh-oh, will the last one work? Hey now. 118 and 118. So corresponding angles are congruent. You are exactly correct. Alright, so far all the angle pairs that we have are congruent to each other. Now let's take a look at the last example. Okay, the last example is going to be consecutive interior. Okay, or remember we can call it same side interior. So consecutive interior angles, okay, if we take a look at these, so if you recall, these two right here are consecutive interiors. And these two are consecutive interiors. So what are you noticing about those? Obviously, hopefully you're noticing, hey, they're not equal. You're right. Consecutive interior is the one pair that is different from all the rest of them. Consecutive interiors, you'll notice, are equal to 180. Okay, and if you forgot another word for equal to 180, that means supplementary. Supplementary. Okay, so consecutive interior angles are equal to 180, which is the same thing as being supplementary. So if you were to add these two together, they should equal 180 degrees. Okay, I'm going to give you one example just to try to see if you got this figured out. So I'm going to give you 1 degree in this picture, and let's see if you can fill in the rest of the measurements. So let's say this position is 70 degrees. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple minutes, or sorry, a couple seconds, and just, enjoy the little background music about the love song about parallel lines. Alright, now some of you may have not finished yet, and that's fine if you want to pause it. I'm going to go through. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can look at this. I'm going to use the rules of the parallel lines and not the vertical idea. So if this is 70 right here, I know that the corresponding angle is right in this position at 70. So those two have to be the same. Okay, then I could go to the rules of consecutive. And remember, consecutive angles, which are right here, okay, these two have to equal 180. So I know if I subtract 180 from 70, I'm going to get 110. So this value has got to be 110. Now I could use the rules of alternate interior angles, and alternate interior angles are equal. So if this is 110 right here, then the one opposite of each other is going to be 110. And you can do the same thing with the 70. Opposite 70 is going to be 70 on the inside. Okay, I could do the same thing with alternate exteriors. So here is 70, the alternate exterior one is over here, and that one is going to be 70. So my missing piece then, I could use corresponding again, and I know that if this is 110, the corresponding angle right here is going to be 110, and then the alternate exterior angle to that one is going to be 110. So if you have this all filled in just like this, then you are correct and you understand the rules of parallel lines with angles.